If I knew you guys liked me so much, I never would have left. Just kidding. Thank you to my good friends, the gentleman from Westport and the gentleman from Gloucester. They truly represent what is the best of this institution, this state, and public service. I'm honored by their words, and even more so by their friendship. To Senator Rodrigues, thank you for your willingness to collaborate and for always treating me as an equal, despite the color of our jersey. I just want to share with you a simple story about who Mike Rodrigues is, and many of you probably don't know this, but it was probably 3 or 4 years back, and both our communities were affected by a change in the Department of Revenue change for the payment in lieu of taxes, an adjustment of assessment, and so our two communities got hit significantly, to the tune of close to $650,000 for two communities, and it was pretty significant. What happened, but it really affected the entire state and a lot of other communities. So Michael kind of took the lead, and he figured out a way to try to make the case of how we can at least hold his communities harmless. But as you know, 3 or 4 years ago, the economy was tight, and he had to go to then, at the time, the Senate President, but she was the Chair of Ways and Means, to make the case for those two communities. But that wasn't good enough for Michael, because the reality is do you know that it wasn't just those two communities that were affected. It was many of our communities, to the tune of $1.7 million, and a whole bunch of different communities were affected, and you all even didn't know it happened. Michael went in, and when he went, he didn't just advocate for our two communities like I suggested. No, I'm just kidding. He advocated for $1.7 million for every community that was affected to be held harmless for that year. And most of you didn't even know that he did that, except for me and my staff and his staff, that he made sure that everyone, for that year, in a difficult time, he made the case and he was successful. And that's the type of person that Senator Rodrigues is, and you should all be proud that he is your Chair of Ways and Means. Let's hear it from Michael Rodrigues. To Senator Tarr, thank you for always standing up. You've always allowed the voices of the minority to have an impact far beyond our numbers because of your intellect, your commitment, and your work ethic, all of which have made you universally respected on both sides of the aisle. Just recently, it was written in State House News that I was a fixture at the State House. Well, if I'm a fixture at the State House, Mr. Leader, you are a pillar. There is not a piece of legislation, and I know you all know this, that does not bear your imprint on it. You have made sure that you participated in every debate at every level to have our imprint on legislation, and I am incredibly proud of that. So, with all due respect to all of my colleagues here, there is no one that has worked harder at this job than the gentleman from Gloucester. I'm going to miss you a great deal. Thank you so much. Madam President, it's been an honor serving under your leadership. You and I served together in the House of Representatives, but it really wasn't until I had the opportunity to serve with you when you were the Chair of Ways and Means and I was the ranking member that we really became friends and got to understand each other, our interests in automobiles, our bike riding. I'm a little better at it than you are. Just kidding. But no, I really have appreciated your calming force that you have brought here. And despite the fact that when you became the Senate President and you didn't give me the position of Chair of Ways and Means, I've gotten over that. But I have really enjoyed working with you, and thank you for all that you do to keep order here. And Lieutenant Governor, thank you. I know you had to rearrange your schedule to be here today, and that meant a lot to me to have you here. The governor of the Commonwealth is at the Republican Governors Association. He wouldn't rearrange the schedule for me. I can't believe it, but Florida, come on. But you have been a great leader, and I've watched you over the years. We served as well together in the House of Representatives, and you have gone to 351 communities around the Commonwealth. You have been to every community because you said, and your administration said, that you were going to make sure that those communities understood that state government was there to help them, and you have done that. Not once, twice, 3 times you've been out there, and you have made a profound impact, and I am proud to serve with you in your capacity. So thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. One of the most important things about this job is working together and finding collaboration and working to make an impact. So I have this unique privilege of representing a community that's split in half by the Cape Cod Canal with the 2 bridges. And so I serve not only in the Plymouth County delegation that I have for many years, but the Cape Cod delegation. And so I just want to say thank you to my colleagues from the Cape Cod delegation that are almost all here today because we are a diverse group, I dare say, and yet we really work together on behalf of Cape Cod, and I believe we've had a huge impact because we've worked together on both sides of the aisle. And so I just want to take this quick opportunity to acknowledge them. We have Senator Julian Cyr, as you know, the Dean of the Senate, Sarah Peake, my good friend Tim Wayland, Will Crocker, Senator Crocker, my good friend Randy Hunt, who also will be retiring this year, David Vieira from the town of Falmouth, and Dylan Fernandez, and of course we cannot forget our former colleague Dan Wolf, who's not here today, but was a huge part of that. So let's give them a And obviously, the Plymouth County delegation, which I had the privilege of working with for 21 years, as former Senator President Therese Murray, who's not here, my good friend, Representative Matt Muratori, who's here today. Right next to him is my former colleague, who I've learned a lot from, was Representative Tom O'Brien. I still do this, and now the Plymouth County Treasurer. I'm really honored that you're here today. We have Josh Cutler, who I think I just saw Josh Cutler step in here as well. Thank you, Josh. It's been an honor working with you. Kathleen Lenatra, and my good friend, Representative Tom Coulter. So thank you guys for having the opportunity to work with all of you and making an impact for our constituents. Today, as all of you... Today, as all of you one day will come to learn, is an emotional day. This is one of the world's greatest jobs and a difficult place to leave. I'm able to do so with optimism and a smile because I'm stepping into another wonderful institution, one that is dear to my heart, Bridgewater State University. We are joined here by the Vice President, Paul Jean. Thank you for being here, Paul, and I'm just so excited about that opportunity to serve at Bridgewater State University. Especially, it's difficult because doing so, as all of you know, can attest to, based on your own schedules, will enable me to spend more time with my family. I love them, and some of them are here today. I'm going to turn over and introduce my wife, Jennifer, my best friend. She has been so gracious to allow me to do this job. And my oldest daughter, who when I got here was 4 years old, and she has with her the 2 joys of my life, my granddaughter, Evelyn, who's 2 and a half, and my grandson, Everett. So it's a lot of fun. My two other children aren't here today, and so I'll get over it. No, I'm just kidding. No, my son's in Seattle, Washington. My daughter's taking a test at Emerson right now. You know, as we do this in this job, I had the privilege, and you talk about this all the time, the Minority Crescent, and you guys have just been incredible friends to me. Every week we get together and we discuss the issues of the day. We've actually solved all the problems of the world every Wednesday. You just don't listen to us. But it's a great group of people. They're great friends, and I am going to truly miss working with each and every one of you. And of course, where would we be without our staffs? Right. I'd be remiss if I didn't get this opportunity just to mention them, and I know a lot of them aren't here, but when I was first elected for 4 years, Lori Klotzbach was my first assistant. Pat O'Brien served with me for 4 years after her. Bethany Toy served with me 4 years after him. And then Emily Jew, who served with me for 4 years and then came over here for 2 years as my chief of staff and is now the deputy chief of staff over at A&F, and so she's got the award for serving the longest with me, patient woman. And then 2 years, and then of course Brendan Dutch, who is my chief of staff now, who served with me for 5 years. Next to him is Lucas Patnode, who has been with me for 2 years. His birthday is tomorrow, so wish him a happy birthday. And Monica Mullen for 5 years, and Lambros for 4 years. So thank you to all of you, because I know I could never have done this without my staff. They have just been phenomenal. And I apologize, this is going long, but 21 years is a long time, and there's a lot of people that I have had the privilege of working with. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the clerk's office led by Michael Hurley. You are a class act, a true professional, and I can't thank you to you and your team. They have been just great people to work with, so I'm so grateful to all of you in the clerk's office. Also want to take this opportunity to thank Jen Miller, the Senate Council, forgive me, that's 16 years, is the Jen Miller, who leads up the Senate Council, and we appreciate your professionalism and your intellect and your brilliance, because you make us look good, and we greatly appreciate that. And, sorry, what a great group of people and that are here. And you know, as I sit around and I look around this room, there's so many people on both staffs that I've worked with, and I'm afraid if I start naming names, I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble. But I think you know who you are as I look around the room, who have befriended me and really helped me. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the court officers, who are great friends. Where's Paul Dooley? Is he hiding, Paul Dooley there? He and I go back quite a ways, and we have a great time talking. And the court officers that are all here have been so good to all of us. They keep us safe, and I really have appreciated their friendship. Now, most importantly, I want to thank the people of the Plymouth and Barnstable District for trusting me with the incredible responsibility of serving in this august body. Many people have asked me, how is it that a conservative Republican can spend 21 years in the bluest of blue legislatures in the country and still get along so well with my colleagues? Well, my secret weapon is here today, and that's my brother, Donaldo. Donaldo's here. Donaldo and I have traveled slightly different ideological trajectories. I became a proud member of the robust Republican caucus of the Massachusetts House and Senate. He has served in academia as a professor his entire professional life. He has 2 doctorate degrees and has even written a book with Noam Chomsky. It's a good thing none of my potential Republican primary opponents ever knew about that one. I joke, but he makes the gentleman from Acton seem a little conservative. Nevertheless, I've learned a lot from my brother, and I've learned a lot about him. Just recently, I had the privilege of attending a Cape Verdean Economic Development Summit in Boston. Over those 3 days, I had no less than 5 individuals come up to me, primarily young people of Cape Verdean descent, and say, "You're Donaldo's brother? If it were not for him, I would have not gotten the education that I received. He helped me find scholarships. He mentored me, he helped me grow, and he changed my life." It's a wonderful thing to hear such nice things about your brother. And while he and I have not always been lockstep ideologically, we've never doubted what's in each other's hearts. That was a life lesson for me navigating these halls over the last 21 years. You and I may differ on legislation and policy, but I've always known that your hearts have been in the right place. And I would hope that you could say the same about me. When we are at our best, that's what we do here, helping those who need a hand up, improving this Commonwealth one constituent at a time, putting people before politics. And I consider myself utterly fortunate to follow my older brother's path into higher education and furthering some of the good work that we do here. What's better in public service than to help connect a student with a paid internship that can help them increase their chances of getting a good job once they graduate? Or to help local businesses and organizations strengthen their ties to one of the state's outstanding higher education system. I'm honored by the opportunity, and I'm excited to get started. I'm leaving behind a fine group of coworkers here, but I get to join a new team with the same goals in mind. And as in the case with my brother and me, our philosophies on how we get there may be different, but ultimately our hearts are the same, our shared desires to help people the same. We bridge our differences on policy by learning about each other. One of the things that I've enjoyed most about serving this legislature is learning about each of your lives, your families, and your districts. When I'm camping in Central Mass, it's comforting to know that I can get on the phone and I can call the gentlelady from Spencer and ask her where a good place to eat is. It's nice to know when I'm vacationing in Western Massachusetts that I don't feel like a stranger in a strange land because of my friendship with the gentleman from the far west. It's nice to feel that I know an area when I'm on the North Shore because of my friendship with the gentleman from Winthrop, or the gentlelady from Salem, or the gentleman from Everett. When I'm on the South Coast, I know I can always get myself out of trouble because of my friendship with the gentleman from New Bedford and the gentleman from Taunton. This legislature can make the state seem small geographically when we get to know each other outside of politics and policy. When we see each other not just as a vote for or against, but as individual people with lives outside of this chamber. For me, it's been the ride of my lifetime, a chance to learn about the issues that affect not just my constituents, but yours as well. 21 years ago, I was a young man who owned a gas station in South Plymouth, Cedarville section, exit 2. Just kidding. By the way, Lieutenant Governor, where do you buy your gas? Because you do a lot of traveling. Just kidding. My parents brought me here from Cape Verde, as you said, when I was only 6 months old. So the opportunity to serve the people of America's hometown, Plymouth, Massachusetts, and later born Falmouth, Kingston, Pembroke, and Sandwich as well, to become good friends with the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, the most popular governor in the nation, and the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth. To have done my own small part to contribute to the world's oldest continuing democracy has all been far beyond what I ever dreamed possible. That's the beauty of our system. It's what makes our country great, that someone like me, born on a small island off the coast of Africa, can come and become a member of this august body. It's a profound thing. It's the American dream, and I'm honored and fortunate to have taken my turn at it. That doesn't mean it's always easy. Democracy, as an author once wrote, is advanced citizenship. We are in the vanguard of that advance. When we are at our best, we advance our shared values, even if our philosophies compete. We advance by striking balance and finding consensus, by reaching compromise. Our best products advanced to the governor's desk, in the words of our fine clerk, for his approbation when we realized that compromise is not a dirty word. There's too little of it in the world today, and there's certainly too little of it in Washington. It would behoove, I think, some of those fine folks to come and spend a few days here under the Golden Dome and learn about how we do things here. Comedy, compromise, compassion. More immediately, for our own purposes, let us hope that the disease that has infected our body politic at the national level not metastasize here. To paraphrase President Eisenhower in his farewell speech, beware of the partisan industrial complex. I will no longer be a member of this body, but I am hopeful and I am confident that the attitude and spirit that I've tried to bring to this building over the last 21 years will endure. That all of you will recognize in each other what I've recognized in you, and what I hope you've recognized in me. That though we may not always vote the same way, we share the same goals. That rather than retreating to our separate corners after 1 round or 15 rounds or a budget debate or a controversy, we meet in the center of the ring and we shake hands. That is what I've tried to do here, and I'm grateful to have worked with so many of you who have done the same. We are better together, we are stronger together, we are happier together. It has been the honor of my professional life to have worked alongside you for the people of my district and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. May God bless you. May He continue to bless the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the United States of America. Thank you so much.